Hello and welcome all together to today's webinar hosted by the Open Telecom Cloud Community Portal. Today we have three guests with us. It's Daniel Schellhase, Tino Fenle, and Hector Lopez Romero. These three are product managers. They will present the newest elements, updates, new feature releases, etc. about their service areas, its database, storage, and security services. And we will spend the next around 1 hour here together. So for this, let me show you shortly the agenda, what we will have today. We will start with Hector, with the database services. You will get some information about the RDS service, about the PostgreSQL new version now available, including a demo. You will get a demo about the recycle bin functionality. You will get a demo about the stop functionality of databases. We will look into RMS, the new service, DRS, also a new service including demo, the DDS service, which is now supporting also Mongo 4.0.3, and then we will switch to Daniel, which is presenting then the storage services. Here we will look into the CBR topic, intro, what SFS Turbo Backup is, cross-region functionalities, etc. And then also we will have a look at EVS, what to know about the planned disk type portfolio change. And at the last but not least, we will then look into the security services, the EAM service, where we will see what we will have about the OpenID Connect. With this, I would then give the word to Hector.
Yes, hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to have this pleasure to give you some information about the database, and of course this time one about RMS, that is not database service, but let's start. We are in the Open Telecom Cloud, then log it in, and then the first will be announcement is about the database. In the database, as you know, then we have a new version. This is the version from Postgres. Postgres, you can find it here, and this is the version number 13. This is related with the minor release 13.7. So this is also very good news that we are still growing with new versions and put it then available to the customers. So the second, it is now the recycle bin. Recycle bin, as you may see here, it is there on the left corner. Then this is used for the case that something gets wrong from a customer point of view, that they delete the wrong database. And then when you delete a database on the OTC, it is most of the time that everything is deleted and you just get the first manual backup and that's it. So for that reason, then we have created this recycle bin. You can do this in this way. The way it works, you just select here and you delete the database. Let me say there, I will delete this database with intention. So when the database is deleted, then it will be automatically moved to recycle bin. In this recycle bin, then the database will be appear here listed, and then on the instance on the recycle bin, sorry, then what it happens is only just two things. The first one, by deleting a database, the rules that we still have, it is that it will be delete all automation that you have, also contain the incremental backups that you have registered there, but the recycle bin will do automatically by deletion a full database backup. This full database backup will be remain here. And then when the full backup has been executed completely, then the option rebuild will be then available, and then you can again get this database back to the RDS. So this is the very good news about this recycle bin. In this case, you will not have here on the recycle bin the possibility to delete it. So that means what it's the database and still will be keep it here. How long? Then it will be here for this policy on the recycle bin. then by default, you have 7 days. So to remain this database here, if you want to change it, then you can change it also with a minimal of 1 day. After I changed this change for the further database that I will delete, then will be remain for 7 days. Before that, as I have previously 7 days, then this database will be still here remaining here for 7 days. Important is this is free of charge, so you don't have to pay for it. Of course, the space that your database will be used on the OTC has to be paid for that remaining time. So that is the only one thing that you have to do. Okay, next, we have offered this stop functionality on the databases. This is, of course, for production. It will be not possible because in production, all customers want to use the database all the time, that you don't have any downtime of database. But for example, if you are doing some kind of testing on database, this functionality will be a very big value for you. In this case, if you go to more, then you will have here the option stop. And when you select stop, then the database will be stopped. So in this case, if I try to stop this database, then you may see, then it will start stopping. At the end, you will find this stopped. Question is always how long this stop will work, because it's not like it will stay stopped for the whole month or whole time. Per month, it is scheduled only just 7 days. After these 7 days, if this time has been reached, then it will be then automatically start. If you would like to try again to stop it, it will be not possible because the 7 days have already been passed. Okay, this is also for these new features that we have on the RDS, also with this new version of PG. Now let's move to RMS. RMS, it is a service, resource management. With this resource management service, it is a service that we are offering only just to have a central point of view through. So that means here you may have the access to all what you have deployed in all the OTC. That means also on these two regions. So we have here the German region, the second region, that is the Netherlands region. And here are the services that are supported by now. This is shown now to things that you have to know. This is all the service displayed when I have deployed at least one instance or service there. If I would like to know exactly which services are covered right now, you just set this tab here, and you can see exactly how many services are we having just by now. If you are not interested on only using your services, I can just advise to you only just to set it like what you are really using. And with that, you can start browsing here. So browsing in the direction, for example, if I create a server with the name Debian server and somebody's asking me about it, then I can see exactly what is related with this server or service. So you set only use the service name, you get access of here on the search field about all what is concerning to that word. And this is it. This is a really straightforward solution. The main intention of this RMS is that whatever you have created in your projects, you may access to that information very quickly. So for all other, for example, or use case that is mostly of the time very used, it's the VPCs, for example, that you want to access the security groups. Then you have all the security groups that we have here deployed on this. Of course, we will have two with the name default because this security groups is one for the German region, the other one for Netherlands. If you are more interested about the rules and you want to export it, because we have the option to export all what you see here with these options, export as a Excel sheet. When you open the Excel sheet, you will get displayed exactly all the services displayed on your search. So it is a little bit straightforward. You will get more information about the service, like an ID of the resource ID and so on. So it's really a very nice solution. For example, if you would like also to see from the I know a question that I am getting the last time recently from most of the users are how to get the list of for the security groups for a specific one. Then you move to this security group, and then in the security group you may have the chance to export the rules exactly at the same time as an Excel sheet, and then you may have all the inbound rules and so on displayed on that way. So a very nice solution from RMS. It is free of charge, so you please go ahead, use it, because this I see the very biggest value on this service that you have a central point of truth to see all your resources deployed on your tenant. So next one, I think we have to move also with DRS, the next service. With DRS, I have prepared here a presentation for you. I will get just this quick. So in this product presentation, it's more what is DRS good for. In this DRS, it's more focused for databases, and it should support exactly the database migration of major versions. For example, we offer by now MySQL, then PostgreSQL, coming soon Microsoft SQL, and with that intention, DRS should exactly solve that gap that we still can offer migration for higher versions. So in this DRS, it's only used, it's easy to use. That's the value of this. It's a dedicated service. It's managed by us. So we are taking more all these manual steps that you are doing for the typical migration tasks that you have to do in your company. It's lower cost because you pay as you use. So, and it's secure because everything you have access about all the procedure of the migrations. You have access also to the current status and so on. So that means we offer in this 4 possibilities. And with these possibilities, we need to know exactly what is also the values of this service on the highlights. So that means when your database, it is related to the continue working. So we support exactly that database can still working during you are doing your migration steps. It makes the migration simple. You get more confident how to use these DRS in a very friendly user interface. You can also compare parameters from one source database to target database, and also you may have only just one instance that is interacting with this. So, and you of course pay per use. In this pay per use, it means for data replication service, it's a service that has to be paid. The first 7 days are for free. After these 7 days, then you start paying this DRS usage. So as I told you at the beginning, then we are covering right now 3 use cases. It will be a new one. The first one, online migration management, is for MySQL. In this migration, it's full migration, so it is stable data, indexes, everything that belongs to this database will be full migrated. We have the data synchronization. With this data synchronization, it's just that both databases are still doing incremental change on both sides, and the multi-disaster recovery management solution. So it's only just on that one database is on your data center, and the other database is on our OTC. And with this database, if you with just one click, you can make this database available. Coming soon, it will be this Microsoft SQL solution, and this will be exactly the way we would like to offer all on this DRS regarding synchronizations, migration, and so on. So that means we have these 4 possibilities that you will see. Today, I will just want to show you this online migration in a live demo. So let's move to the live demo very quick. So with this live demo, you may see we are here on the OTC. The service is a data replication service on databases, and on these databases, as I told you before, we have three options. For MySQL, it's online migration management. On this, I have already created one, but let's just start showing what is this related. For MySQL migration to the cloud, we can use a public network. So that means it is from internet IP addresses to the VPC, or you can make also the migration inside your tenant with these VPC options. So that means you can select from the existing databases exactly what is your destination database. I, in this case, select what is my destination database. You can select what kind of migration type, full migration, or just full process incremental. That means after this instance has created or do the full migration, then it starts doing automatically creating the change there, and this is it. So after you select this, the DRS instance will be created, and with this DRS instance, it takes 5 minutes. Of course, we don't have this time. That is the reason that I already create one only just to show you that is how this is supposed to work. When this creation is done after this 5 minutes, you may have exactly this one with the option configuration. You use edit them, and then with this, you select exactly again which are your source database. In this case, for example, I want to migrate from 5.6 to 8. So I set the user, I set the password, and I can test the connection. It is necessary. And from my destination database, the same story. So I have the same user, password, So the test connection, this is it. After the test connection has been established from DRS, then you can say only just move to the next step. In this next step, it will be just ask you about what do you want to migrate. In this case, for example, I am doing the full migration. You can select exactly a parameter like a limitation of date rate, accounts, and so on. So that means there's everything should be really enough for a database admin. And you want, of course, do the full migration. So you can also select a tables database. So it's also possible. But in this case, I want to show you just these few steps about the full migration. And in the last step, the parameters will be checked from both sides. So that means source database and destination database. This DRS will be take care that everything from both sides is exactly the same. If not, there will be here the place that you will get displayed what has to be change, or if you are agreeing with this difference, then you can just confirm them, and then the migration step will be then starting working like this straightforward. So that means, as you see, it is really nice that I can now migrate from MySQL 5.6 to 8. Everything has been passed, and the last step will be just to select next. You will get now the list about all the parameters that are from both databases exactly listed. So you may have the chance also just to verify that everything is fine. So it's an overview on it. And after that, then if you say, okay, it is for me fine, so I can live with it. So let's say that, then you can move to the next step. In this case, now decide I want to start doing these steps right now, or a specific time frame that you can decide, okay, on the nights makes me sense because the database is not really high used. And then on this case, the migration step can a little bit speed up. In this case, I decide to do it right now, and this is it. So at the end, you may see the complete, that this DRS has been complete, successful, and then you have already did a successful migration inside your MySQL versions. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hector, for your part. Next one would be then Daniel.
Yes, thank you very much, Stefan. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. So I will cover some topics around the CBR service as well as the Elastic Volume Service. And first of all, I would like to come to the Cloud Backup and Recovery Service and give you an update about the latest improvements and even some preview information. So as you might know, we have now released for the Cloud Backup and Recovery Service, in short term CBR service, the possibility that you're able to back up even your file server. So your scalable file service, the SFS Turbo. This has been included into the offering. So now we are able to back up the EVS, the ECS, and SFS. One hint which I would like to give just right at the start is that if you are going to do backups afterwards, a direct restore is not possible using the CBR service or the backup. So you need to create here a new SFS Turbo share if you would like to make use of the backup afterwards. So a direct restore is not possible and not working. So please keep this in mind when we are talking here about the backup functionality, which we have now implemented into SFS Turbo. So you see here, restore is of course given for the ECS and EVS disk, but here in case of the SFS Turbo file service, you can only create a new share. Please always keep this in mind. It's documented in all the websites, in all documentations. So therefore, I just wanted to highlight this here. In addition, as you might know, if you use the CBR service as well as all the other backup services, but especially for CBR, of course, all the backups will be stored and replicated in all 3 availability zones of the Open Telecom Cloud. So we are storing the data inside the object storage service. So all your data of the SFS is shared across all 3 AZs, so that you're aware about this, because maybe in some cases you need to protect for availability outage. And this could be an option to say, okay, maybe a backup option is okay because customers can maybe wait until the system is live again. And then you can, for example, create a new SFS share then directly inside a different availability zone. So what I would like to mention, how does CBR work? So CBR works a little bit different as the other services. For CBR, you normally create in first instance a vault. And you define for which kind of service you would like to create the vault. So you can assign it to the server, to the disks, or SFS Turbo. Afterwards, you are able to create policies, and you can connect these policies to the vaults. So you can create multiple backup policies and assign multiple of these backup policies then to the vaults. And at the last point, you can just connect the instance to the vault, and then the backup will run and work. So here, just to be aware, you can apply multiple backup policies or a backup policy to multiple vaults, but one vault can only receive one backup policy. On the other hand, as you can see, you can connect multiple instances to one of the vaults. So that's basically how it's working. And I would like to show this exactly to you, how it's looking on the console. You will see here the Cloud Backup and Recovery service within the storage services. And if you click on this one, you will get the overview. So you have here on the left side, Cloud Server Backups, Cloud Disks for EVS, Cloud Server, of course, for ECS, and SFS Turbo Backups for especially the SFS Turbo. And starting here, I can now create a new vault. So this is just simple by clicking on the right top corner. And now I can configure here my backup vault. For example, I can directly associate here my instance, which I would like to connect. Here, I will select this one here. I've already pre-configured, of course, an SFS Turbo share for this demo. So therefore, this is already up and running and available. The other one is grayed out because it's already connected to a vault. You see, here's a message already associated with a vault. So I cannot select. So as mentioned, you can only connect one instance to one vault. Therefore, I now selected here this one. This is free. And now I can provide the capacity of the vault, because you have more or less inside the vault a capacity which is given. And keep in mind that for the SFS Turbo, you start with always a capacity of 500 gigabyte. So here I just provide to my SFS Turbo instance here 1 terabyte of data. And afterwards, I can say, okay, I would like to have auto backup, meaning connection to a policy. If I would like to, I can create a new policy, and I will do this now. So here I can now create a new policy. So a new tab will be opened. And I can now give this one here a policy, Daniel community, just to give it a name. And I can say, okay, I would like to just make a backup maybe at 20 and in the morning before the office opens. Afterwards, this is the execution time. Afterwards, I can select the backup cycle. So how often do I would like to make a backup? So here I can go on a week base, so I can select the time and the days where I would like to make the backups, or a custom cycle, meaning every 2 days, every second 2 days, 1 day, whatever is necessary. Here I will just select from Monday to Friday, like office days. And afterwards, the retention rules. So how long are the backups kept in the system? And here I can select from backup quantities. So it will just keep the amount of backups inside the system, which I configure here. I can have time period, which of course keeps then the backups for the period of time available. Or I can go for permanent, which I of course don't recommend because you would like to get rid of data. So therefore, please select what you need. I will go here for the backup quantity. I will create every week 10 backups. Maybe I will just keep these as 10. Click on OK. And then I've created my policy. I go back to the other tab. Just select it here then that I've now here the backup policy, associate this to a project, and give this a name, community vault. Now I've created my vault, or it's created. I can now go back to the list. And I see here now my vault is created. Of course, the backup will be executed automatically. Now I'm able to even click here and say, okay, I would like to expand the capacity later on. I can directly perform a backup. I can even change, of course, the backup policy. I can delete this. And in addition, I will now go to backups because I've already done one. You see here, for example, I've already in this morning done a backup and executed one manually. And here I can, of course, then create a new file system out of this backup or delete this backup. So these are the possibilities that are given here inside the Cloud Backup and Recovery service. What I would like to highlight here as well is that we have a migration possibility given now from CBR, that you can migrate your existing CSBS and VBS policies and backups to the CBR service, because this is the most advanced service. And I will give you here even a short demonstration. So what you will see here is, if I go to the Cloud Backup and Recovery, you see here, if I click on Cloud Server Backups, the migrate to CBR functionality. And if I click on this one, I get a notification here what exactly will happen. So here's an explanation where it's explained what will exactly happen. So all backups will be migrated and you cannot revert this action. So once you execute this action, you cannot revert this. So you will, of course, migrate your CSBS, VBS to CBR, and they're not any longer available inside the CSBS or VBS service. So therefore, you need to more or less say, okay, I have read this, and then you click on OK. This functionality is only a one-time given to you. So once you have executed this functionality is gone. Therefore, I will not click on OK, so I can demonstrate this even for later demonstration purpose. But if you click on OK, then all the existing CSBS, all the existing VBS backups will be migrated to CBR, and you will see that the policies and everything has been migrated, the backups will be migrated, the vaults will automatically be created, and everything will, after a specific period of time, then be available inside the CBR service. So why is this something which I'm highlighting here at this point in time? And then I will explain it in a second. Then I will give you an explanation about what will come next. So we are working here on a feature which is called cross-region replication for our OBS service. So inside OBS, the data are stored across 3 availability zones, and cross-region replication makes it possible that we can replicate then the OBS, the object data, to the other region, to our Netherlands region. And here I would like to highlight that we are even then working on the topic to even make it then available for the CBR backup service as well as for RDS backups, that you can use the cross-region replication functionality for your backup services. So that you're able to store your backups multi-region redundant inside both of our regions. So you can comply to the BSI for geo redundancy, which currently you need to build on your own. So here you can, of course, use the backup functionality or OBS to comply to this. You have an automatic functionality, which avoids that you need to implement something custom-made or handmade. And of course, we are looking for QuiTIS compliance, where even some of you and even some customers are already informed us that they need to have this kind of geo redundancy available and need to store, for example, backup data in cross regions. So this will come Q1 to Q2, and which we will release in a beta stage. So and then this can be, and afterwards, I think 3 months later, we will make it available as public if there is no issue found and everything is working smooth as we expect it will. Then I would like to come back to the CSBS and VBS. I gave you here an overview about the function set and feature set given inside these 3 backup services. And here my message is, and this slide should give you exactly that message. The message is clear. You should go ahead and consider going to the CBR service, because CBR service is the most advanced. It supports, of course, all our services, EVS, ECS, as well as SFS Turbo. And you're able to separate data, because with vaults you can separate data. We have backup policies, and you can have the most advanced configuration possibilities, the most comprehensive feature set in CBR. We are doing the integrations into the ecosystem. So like, for example, this is even something which I've prepared for you for the demo, is that one. So what we have given here as well for the CBR service in general is that if you go back to the, for example, the identity and access management, you're able to grant here permissions on very fine-grained or can create fine-grained policies, which means you go here to the EAM, go to create custom policy, go to project level service, and then you're able to select the services which we have, where we have the feature set available, and you can grant access rights on specific actions. So what you see here is that you're able to really, for example, avoid that specific users are able to, for example, delete policies, delete vaults. So you can really, and even a backup is given that you, for example, prevent them from deleting these backups, deleting policies or vaults. So you can really very granularly define here which kind of access right is given. Another feature which we have implemented is, for example, the implementation into Cloud Ice service here for CBR. So here you're able to, for example, make use of the event notification functionality. So you can create alarms based on a specific event that happens on the CBR service. So for example, I could here give an alarm name, but I would like to show it shortly to you. Here you click on event source, cloud backup and recovery. And afterwards, you can here on the left here click on define which kind of event you would like to get notifications from. And here, for example, a failure happens for the creation of the backup. You can exactly make a trigger, say, okay, severity is critical. You would like to get a notification once, for example, backup fails. And so we have implemented exactly these kind of integrations into the CBR service and will continuously expand exactly that integrations. What you can do in addition, I already explained, there's the vault size configuration. You can even create alarms based on the vault size. So here, for example, you go onto the alarm management. Then you click on here the CBR service, Cloud Backup and Recovery. And afterwards, you can, of course, select the resources. You can create manually the alarm and say, okay, I would like and to get an information once, for example, the vault size has reached a specific gigabyte amount. So I configured, for example, here 1000. I could say I would like to have 900. Or I can use the vault usage, which is a percentage value. I can even say, okay, I would like to get a notification when 90% of my vault capacity is reached. So you can add and add these functionalities and integrations into the ecosystem to the CBR service. And that's what I would like to highlight here inside my presentation, that we have done these integrations, which are missing here for the other services. So, and we will continuously improve here the product. There won't be any further improvements for the other services. That's it for the CBR. Now I would like to give you a preview about the EVS and the portfolio plan, what we are doing. So you see here the available disk types which we have available right now. And I would like to focus here on the IOPS and the throughput per disk right now. And what we are going to do is we are going to do a change inside the portfolio. So what will happen now? We will implement the Extreme IO disk type, which a maximum of 128,000 IOPS available. And this will come already, I think, next month or beginning of January, February. So we're currently working on this item. So I hope we can bring this before Christmas. So we are heavily working on this, but I cannot promise right now. So, but it's expected to be at least available in Q1. So, but we're working heavily on this one to bring this. What we will do in addition, we will remove the high I/O performance and ultra I/O latency optimized flavor types and bring a new GP SSD flavor type. And the ultra I/O will go up in terms of IOPS and throughput. That's going to happen. So what exactly how this will work? So we will bring the Extreme IO, as mentioned, at least in Q1, with the specification of 128,000 of IOPS, 1 gigabyte per second throughput. We will bring the new general purpose SSD with the specification of 20,000 IOPS and 250 megabyte per second throughput. And the ultra high IO with 20 has currently the 20,000 and 320 megabit per second. And we will go with a spec up and a price up here for the ultra high IO. So you will see that we will, of course, keep the ultra IO, and you need to consider a migration if you would like to keep on nearly the same specification for the general purpose SSD. But the ultra IO will go up with spec and price, at least in, we expect right now Q3, but we will, of course, review the situation on customer side and on your side, of course. If migration has happened, if you have too many customers where the migration has not been happened, then, of course, we might consider to postpone this slightly. But this is planned to go up here in terms of IOPS and slightly in terms of throughput for the ultra IO. That's what I would like to mention. Then what will happen? I will give you an overview about the situation when this will happen. So we have currently this portfolio, and we will now bring the Extreme IO. Afterwards, we will bring the GP SSD and more or less put the end of sales for the ultra IO. So we expect then a migration to happen to the GP SSD. Afterwards, we will remove these flavor types and, of course, then go start with this backup of the ultra IO when the GP SSD migrations has been done. Then we will have this kind of portfolio available. So you will see we have common IO, high IO. We have the GP SSD, ultra IO, and the Extreme IO with the accordingly that specifications. We expect this will happen end of next year. That we will remove the common and high IO and replace this with the basic SSD. Here as well, of course, we will give some time for migration, but we will, of course, remove these from the portfolio. So we will go to the basic SSD, which will have a nearly same price and pricing as agreed with as the common and high IO, but based on SSD with the IOPS of 7,500 and a throughput of 100 megabit per second. That's the specification. Then we have a full SSD portfolio. That's what we are currently planning. And here, once again, the roadmap with the milestones which we've currently implemented. And what you will see is once we have this full SSD portfolio available, we are even considering to bring a type change functionality at beginning of 24. So this is currently the roadmap at what you can foresee, what we are doing on midterm plan on the EVS portfolio. That's it now from my side. And now I will hand over to Tino, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. And next one will be then Tino.
Yes, exactly. So good morning, everybody, again. Today, I want to talk about updates for security services, especially for the service IAM, Identity and Access Management, and the new functionality for OpenID Connect. First of all, let me give you a brief overview about what actually IAM is. So IAM is Identity and Access Management. That is the base service for giving access. So basically saying who can access what and also at which condition, like at which specific time, or if you are authenticated for MFA. So this is for all related services to give access. But one important topic where we are talking about is also federation, meaning trust relationship with other identity providers. So the service of IAM is structured with the following as shown. Basically, we have multiple types of users who could come from a different tenant, are created inside IAM, or are coming from a different directory. And that is basically what we are focusing now. That's the federated directory, which you see on the right, which you can add to IAM to use other identities as identity provider to use cloud resources inside the Open Telecom Cloud. Basically, this feature is already existing for a protocol called SAML, a Security Assertion Markup Language. This is also a standard like OpenID Connect, OIDC, where you can connect different identity provider. Basically, SAML is, let's say, an older protocol for more complex and enterprise environments, for example, for the Active Directory you have on premise. And OpenID Connect is a new protocol, or newer than SAML, and is now also included in IAM 2.5. Both protocols are available for or support single sign-on to your service. And OpenID Connect is more suited also for mobile apps or for web pages. This is now included into IAM as mentioned. And what I will do now is to give a short demo of how it works to connect to a web application for single sign-on. Therefore, let me jump into the console. So I'm now logged into the regular OTC console. Just for later purpose to know, here you see my user. So I'm now working as an IAM user. So the user has been created in IAM locally. If I now go to IAM, Identity and Access Management, and to identity providers, we now have the option in the dialog for creation of an identity provider to also select OpenID Connect. So if I just enter something, test community, I can now select OpenID Connect and also can configure it. Basically, for configuration, we have two types of information we need to enter. The first one is we need to enter data on the OTC side. This data we get from the identity provider, and we need to enter data from our side, which we need to enter on the provider side. Basically, the information we have here, in this example, we get from Google because we use a Google web app for authentication. And there are some, you can just Google it, let's say, for your provider. I already prepared something from Google. There's this well-known configuration for OpenID. Basically, there you get all information you need to fill up your configuration. One additional thing you need is, let's say, a kind of key you get from your application, which you also need to enter on the console here it's called client ID, to kind of connect these, because the information you have here is public. And when you create an application, in this case, like I said, it's a Google one, you get some kind of client ID. That is your kind of matching ID you need to enter, that both systems trust each other. On the provider side, you also need to enter the URLs where the authorization is forwarding to. These links are provided also by us, either in the help center, but also in the tutorial, which is available on the OTC community. When I now go to the identity providers, I already prepared it. So this is the let's say filled out data we have. So these are the informations from the Google side, which I pasted here. The most important thing is for logging in that you then get these login link. Basically, this is the link which is forwarding you to Google to authenticate with Google as the identity provider. And once authentication has succeeded, you will be forwarded to the OTC. Basically, that's what I'm now doing in a new private window. So I have this link I'm just pasting here. And like I said, now I'm forwarded to the identity provider, which is in this case Google. Now I need to authenticate myself. Basically, in this case, yeah, I'm using my Google account. As authentication is happening also on the identity provider side, also the MFA in this case will be happened on this side. Just 1 second, I will get a notification. Yes. And basically now I'm forwarded from the successful Google authentication to OTC. I'm now logged in. As you can see, I have a different name. It's called Federation user and now underscore my name. This is a setting you can configure. In the standard, it's just called Federation user for all users. But based on the authentication, you can claim some options. This I will show you here. This is called identity conversion rules. With these rules, you can configure what happens or what do you want to do with the data you get from the logged in user. In this case, I created a rule which is kind of grabbing the information I get from email, given name, and family name as some kind of variable. And local means, let's say, the OTC side. I'm changing the names based on the parameter. So it's now called Federation user, and then the second one, and then the first parameter to display the name. You can also use these rules to configure, for example, group memberships that users coming from this identity provider are placed in different rules. These parameters are also dependent on the identity provider. Here from Google, you also get the claims supported. So these are the actions you can use with. Basically, this is a tutorial for Google, but as OpenID Connect is a worldwide standard, you can use all identity providers who support OpenID Connect as this is a standard. In case this was a bit too hectic, you also have available on the OTC community a tutorial which also describes step by step again which data you need to enter, where it is to be retrieved for this example, also with screenshots and an example for the identity conversion rules. Also, a nice colleague also added some information if you want, for example, to connect Azure Active Directory as an identity provider for OpenID Connect. Basically, this concludes also my presentation. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tino, for having you. This was the third part of our presentation, the third part, third product manager. So with this, I want to say at first, thank you for joining this presentation, this webinar hosted by the OTC community. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.